Huh?
You want to debate?
You want some?
I'm an atheist elf.
You want some?
You want some?
I'll give you. You want some?
If you want some, I'll give it.
Yeah, we can. Okay, let me do this with whoever this.
Sorry, I'll let you do a thing, man.
You want some?
Wait, want to debate?
Right, let's come this side. Let's go this side. Come on, take you off.
Your umbrella, bro.
Take you off.
I'm an atheist Christian myself. I'm here to preach the good news of Santa Claus.
You smashed it. Can I put this on?
Thank you, man. You're the only one laughing. Everyone else is serious. When are we getting this press conference started?
Right now.
Right now.
We're gonna have a press conference with Santa.
I'm his helper. I'm
his
his little
helper.
helper. Look.
Yes, we're gonna see if he's been working hard.
How does it look? Does it look?
Yeah.
Can you see all the bells? And...
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I do that, it starts. And then when I do that, it's round one.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah.
Round one.
Ding, 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 ding. Look.
Knockout.
Yeah, I want to have a discussion. I don't want to debate you.
No, same team. I don't want to have a thing.
Wait. Fucking hell, there's a lot of cameras. Can you tell me why there's so many cameras?
Because you're famous. You're the champ. They've been waiting for Christmas. Father Christmas is
You have some
helper.
Christmas spirit in you, boys.
Tell us what's Father Christmas
You can
been
be
doing.
Muslim and enjoy Christmas. Alright, you know that.
Is Father Christmas a Muslim?
There's nothing. Yeah. No,
Is Father Christmas a Muslim?
We don't eat pork on Christmas. We eat Christmas goose and turkey. So it's all halal.
I like turkey. I love turkey.
Exactly. Turkey is halal, man. It's all good.
Halal. Yeah, it's got a mic.
No, you want your one?
Yeah, I have. 1 second.
Oh shit, there's a mic.
Yeah, I got a mic here.
Nice
Look,
one. Yeah.
Look, it's here.
So I just wanted to ask.
Is it? What is it? Hello? Is it on? Yeah. What's wrong there?
Yeah, man, no problem, brother. So look, I have a question for you, man.
Let's see if it just started. Is it starting?
But I wanted to ask about. I want to talk about politics, but mainly about just to keep it very simple. I wanted to ask you about Allah, man. The proof that Allah exists.
Yeah, sure.
Because for me, I've been an atheist since about the age of 8 years old.
Yeah. Okay.
And none of these beliefs make sense. I was raised Catholic.
Okay.
For me, I'm not like in favor of a particular religion because none of them make sense to me. Man.
Okay. That's a good question.
Yeah. I wanted to talk to someone who's gotten some knowledge about this.
I've got a bit of knowledge. Ready?
So Ali, how long have you been coming to Speaker's Corner?
About 9 years.
Okay, 9 years.
Yeah. You?
It's so good, isn't it? I've been coming since I was 19, so about 6 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I almost never went into the religious. You know how there's like politics on one side and so usually I talk to the anti-vaxxers and
yeah, I spoke to some of them.
Yeah, sometimes I debate the cowboy.
Yeah, the American one.
He pushed me off his ladder. I was on his ladder. I jumped up on his ladder just quickly because I wanted to speak. Yeah. And he like literally pushed me off the ladder.
Oh my god.
It's not very Christian, is he?
Well, that's the thing. That's the irony. He says you should love your enemy and turn the other cheek.
Yeah, man.
They're bloody throwing people off ladders.
No, it's not good. Not good. So yeah, I just wanted to ask, what is the proof that Allah exists?
Jabi, can you ask that again? Sorry.
How can you prove that Allah exists? I need to know this. I need to hear what I've heard the Christian side. Yeah. I need to hear the Muslim explanation. For me, I can't believe in God, any kind of God, Allah, God, Zeus, any of them.
What's your name?
My name's Kyle.
Kyle, nice to meet you. My name's Ali.
Ali, nice to meet you.
Okay, so the thing is, firstly, I think everybody has an innate desire to worship a higher being, but we are filled with so many false deities. And what happens is we sometimes, like you as a Catholic or Christian, whoever it may be, any background, when you see that Christianity doesn't make sense and the Trinity doesn't make sense, what you do is you apply that to all religions, which is not fair because you're like, okay, this didn't make sense to me. All religions are the same. That happens a lot. I don't really blame you. It's just, sadly, it just happens. So what happens is, like I said before, you follow a specific religion, you don't get answers. Things don't make sense, therefore you put all the religions in the same category.
I don't want to do that.
Islam is not the same as Christianity or any other religion. Islam is pure monotheism. And now you want to know that God exists, yeah? Okay, now our concept of God and the concept of God in Christianity are two separate things. Because in Christianity, they have brought God Almighty to into the creation. So they claim that God walked like me and you on earth. And to me, that's bonkers. It's crazy. How could God Almighty that created the heavens and the earth? There are more stars in our universe, there are sand particles in our planet. And the one that created them came and walked on earth like me and you, ate food, had to go toilet. Can you imagine God Almighty in the toilet?
Well, it's, yeah.
Exactly, that's my point. So we say no, we negate that. So we say God is not in its creations. Now, how do we prove that? There's different. I can come to you from the argument of contingency. So we know that there are dependent, contingent beings that are dependent and contingent and in our universe, yeah? So that goes from me to you to the very light is that shining on us, yeah? this light that's shining on us requires electricity. Yeah, so it depends on electricity for its survival. It's got other elements that it's made of, be it steel or metal or plastic and other rubber, whatever it may be, for its existence. So we say this is dependent, it's contingent, yeah, and it's not self-sufficient.
No, it's not.
Okay, so what we say is we cannot have an infinite regress of dependent beings. So
there has to be a first cause.
there has to be. You can call it
why
primary.
does it have to be though?
No, it has to be. It's necessary. What it means is that it's like we cannot have sea without seabed. Am I right or wrong?
Sure, but how can you draw that analogy? That's an analogy
Yeah.
that I don't think really fits.
What?
Physicists and scientists,
Yeah.
they don't actually know exactly where the universe comes from.
It doesn't matter.
They've created hypotheses like the Big Bang, but they don't know what came before that. They don't pretend that they know.
That's fine.
The problem with me is that religion, and this is where Christianity and Islam
Yeah.
kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
They insist that there must be some sort of first and final cause
There has
that
to
started
be.
all of that.
It requires that. That's what we
Why
call
though?
it.
Why does it
because that's what we
require
call it the necessary being. Because what did I say? Remember, we have dependent, contingent beings in our universe, and you cannot have an infinite regress of dependent things.
Can you explain to me how you get from the analogy of the lamp
Yeah.
to talking about the whole universe?
Okay.
That's one little tiny lamp.
exactly.
How can you use that as an analogy for the whole
Exactly,
universe? I need to
because
understand.
this tiny lamp is dependent. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree on that.
it's
yes.
not self-sufficient.
I'm trying to understand how you work from that to the whole universe.
that's
For
what-
me, it's too much of a jump.
That's what I'm trying to do now. Yeah. Can we agree that this lamp is dependent and not self-sufficient?
Exactly.
Okay. Now let's talk of a bigger lamp, a star, our sun. Right? Is our sun self-sufficient or is it dependent?
I'm not an astrophysicist. I don't know much
Yeah.
about this, but as far as I know, it comes from hydrogen.
So it
Brought
shows-
together by gravity.
There you go. So it's
Not-
made out
not
of
an expert, so-
It's made out of composing parts, which means it's dependent.
Yes.
Anything that composes of parts is dependent. So therefore, what we say is we have a bigger sun, which I know you know. Have you seen that video which shows our planet to?
Yes, yes.
And it's like woo,
Yeah.
and then you have the biggest star, which is like bloody hell, it fits like our sun in there probably a billion times.
Yeah.
That is dependent. Now what we say is this cannot go on forever, because then you have the fallacy of infinite regress of dependent beings. It's a fallacy.
I don't even think scientists claim it goes on forever. They just don't know.
No, I don't know.
I'm
It's
of the
not-
more scientific cast of mine
I
than
understand,
religious,
I
so
understand,
I
but-
go with that. They don't claim that they know. In
That's
a way,
fine.
we have to just accept that we're not sure right now.
No, but saying
Why
I
do we
don't
have to
know.
create a belief
no,
that's not
we
necessarily
don't.
true?
But we believe scientists are creating a belief. The belief that I don't know, therefore don't question. What does that
No,
mean?
they don't say don't know, therefore don't question. They're constantly trying to find this out.
But what we're saying is logically, let's break it down.
Okay,
And
alright.
if it makes sense or not. So what we're trying to say is we cannot have a infinite regress of dependent things. Meaning, you cannot have, for example, dependent things relying on each other forever. There has to be a point of start. This is logical. This is rational.
If there has to be a point of start, why
Yes.
does it have to be God?
No, it's not. I'm not even talking about God now. I'm talking about that if there is a beginning point. That's what I want to do
Let's
first.
say I agree with you on that. I actually am
No,
not sure.
not
But
let's
let's say, for the sake of discussion, yes,
No, no.
there has to be a first point.
I
Why is it God? Can I ask that question?
I don't agree with this term of let's say for the argument's sake. I have to prove my point.
Well, we're having a
Because-
philosophical discussion.
I know,
Let's speak hypothetically a little bit.
not,
here.
not necessarily in the context, because what happens is when I make my premise, you will come and say, well, I just said for argument's sake. I don't want argument's sake. I want for us to be certain.
Okay, for me, I can't claim that I agree with you. I don't know.
No, you can.
I just don't know.
Okay, can we have something coming from nothing?
I don't know enough about metaphysics to dispute that.
Come on. Look at what I'm saying
Things
to you.
have to come from somewhere,
Thank
but
you.
that doesn't mean we know what that something is.
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, as long as we acknowledge that there is that
Cause and
something.
effect. Cause and effect.
Okay, good. I'm not even using cause and effect argument, but you agree that there is a point of beginning, and there is something there. I'm not saying that is God. I haven't said that yet. All I'm saying is, do we agree that logically and rationally we deduce and understand that there was a point of beginning?
I'm neither disagreeing nor agreeing with that. I'm saying we don't know. There might have been a first beginning of time.
No.
There might have been, but there might not have been. I don't know.
It's not. I don't know. You said a minute ago there must be something, but now
Thing
you're
is,
saying no.
you're
there isn't.
insisting that I take a side, but I don't know enough about the subject.
No, but I don't
take
know.
a side.
But I don't know. It's not really an
If I was
answer.
to ask you to comment on the inner workings of that lamp,
Yeah.
are you an electrician? I don't know if you are.
No, I'm not.
So you aren't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to tell me exactly how it works.
But an electrician would.
And you'd be fine to say, look, I'm not sure.
No,
That's
yes.
what I'm doing right now.
Not
I don't
necessarily.
know whether there is infinite regress.
Not necessarily, because you're denying that even that lamp exists.
No, I am saying the lamp exists. What I'm saying
no.
is the first cause, we don't. That's a false analogy.
Me saying I don't know how that works is not the same as me denying that it doesn't exist. You're denying the existence of something. So do you get it?
I'm not. I'm saying I don't know whether there's a first cause or not.
No, it's very easy. Me saying I don't. If you said to me, Ali, how does this work? I say I don't know. That's not where you're at. You're saying, Ali, I don't even think there is a lamp.
No, I do think there is.
No, but no. What this analogy you're saying? You're saying I don't know if there's a lamp, because I'm saying to you, can something come from nothing?
Well, no, not generally. No. But scientists are having doubts about this.
No. The scientists can have no doubt about this, because if you logically think about it, 0 can never give rise to 1. It's a mathematical, logical, rational impossibility. What you're saying is as good as magic. If you look at magic, a magician has a hat and a rabbit comes out.
Okay,
at least you have a rabbit and a hat that it comes out from.
I think I'm coming around to your point.
What scientists are saying is this, and this is the biggest magic trick here, that there was nothing, the absence of something, and something came to be. That is an absurd claim. So what we're saying is there is a point where everything began to exist. What caused it? I want to talk about.
I'm going to say that probably for me, the most logical explanation is a Big Bang.
But even the Big Bang, it's a point of, like, for example, if you reverse it, it comes to a single point of what caused that.
And I'm willing to accept that there was something before the Big Bang.
Like what?
Now that's what I wanted to ask you about.
Yes.
For me, I can't say that it's God.
But I'm not even talking about God. Look, I said again, I'm not talking about God.
I don't know what came before.
Okay, no problem.
I don't know.
No problem. But you have to accept that there was something that may have had to give rise to the Big Bang. The Big Bang cannot give rise to itself. So what we're saying now
is that something?
Good. Now we're talking. Now what we're saying is that something has to be independent. It has to be self-sufficient, and it has to be necessary. Why? Because if it's dependent, then it falls back into the category of the creation, because it's dependent. So it requires something independent for it to give rise to it.
But you say this word creation, that implies of some kind of conscious
human
being type
well, of course,
supreme aspect that could create that stuff consciously. It might have just flowed organically out of nothing.
No, it can't be.
Or out of something else.
No, it can't be. What did we say? It cannot come from nothing. It has to be something else. Now,
that something else may not have created it.
No
it may
problem.
Have just...
That something else is either dependent and depends on something else, and then something else.
Yeah,
and then
it might just go back forever.
That's the problem now. You cannot have a dependent. What did I say my first premise was? You cannot have an infinite regression of dependent things. Because what will happen is, we will never be here if that carried on forever. And what created that thing, and that created that thing, and then it'll go on forever.
And I love to enjoy that mystery.
Let me tell you.
We don't have to say it's God.
No, but you know why? The thing is there, we are using our logic. If you go home and you see a plate smashed on the floor.
I can follow what you're saying. Let's move on beyond this, because I've already agreed with you that there was probably something that created
but something, let me tell you about that something.
But what was that something?
Okay, good. So what I'm trying to say is this, we have to be consistent, because sometimes certain atheists, not yourself, sometimes they're inconsistent. When they go home and see a phenomena, let's say for example a plate smashed on the floor, they don't go and say, I don't know what caused that. In the context, wow, there's possibilities. Earthquake, the cat tipped it over. The window was open, the wind blew it. Somebody done it. You come to rational conclusions. It must be one of these, or some kind of a phenomena that caused it. You will never come and say, it's none of these, and I don't know what happened.
No, there must be a reason.
Good. So what we're saying is this, use the same logic and rationality. That, what we see is, that thing that gave rise to that has to be intelligent. It has to have a will, because if it gave rise to it, which you said, the Big Bang, there's something there we don't know what it is. Whatever that thing is, it has to have the power of will.
Why?
Because how could it give rise to the Big Bang?
Are you telling me that, say for example, there was a really stormy day and the wind blew a plate in your house onto the ground and it smashed?
Yeah.
Are you saying the wind was intelligent, conscious, had a will?
No, not at all. I never even said that. That's not even what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you
so why does it have to be the first thing that caused the universe?
Because what we're saying is, saying is that the one who willed the wind to be created is the one. We're not giving it to the wind. You're giving the attributes of the God that we talk about to the wind.
Why does it have to be intelligent and have a will?
It has to, because let me tell you why. For example, if I show you a painting of somebody who's drawn a masterpiece of a bird, when we look at that, we don't see the painter, but we do know there was a painter. We do know that he had a will to do it. We know that he needed knowledge, and we know he required skills. So what we're doing is, we are giving attributes based on the product that it's made.
Because that's a painting. I could just as easily say, look, I found, I don't know,
there's
let's say I found...
example we can give.
No, there is a good example.
Give me one.
I could say, for example, that there was let's go back to the analogy of the wind. The wind knocks over the wind knocks over the vase full of flowers and they smash on the ground.
Yes.
I see the smash. If I then could put two and two together and I say definitely it was the wind. I'm not going to say the wind was intelligent.
But I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you agree.
So I could just use an analogy that's just as a contrary analogy to your one.
Not really, because what you're doing is you're giving the attributes to a wind. We say the wind is dependent, but what you've accepted is this: the wind blew. You're using something logical.
It's not will or conscious. It's a force of nature.
No. Force of okay. Blind force of nature? Yeah. No. Okay. What you're doing is now, you're deifying. Like, you know, some people, you watch David Attenborough. Mother Nature And I'm
It's a
like,
metaphor, brother.
Mother Nature. What the hell is Mother Nature?
It's a metaphor. No one's saying it seriously.
No, I
David
know.
Attenborough is a hardcore
I know.
atheist.
What I'm trying to say is the following. The fact that you ascribe it to evolution or Mother Nature and random events taking place is a deity, because what you're doing is random. But let me tell you what, you're telling blind processes are coming together and causing things. For example, we have consciousness. An atom doesn't have consciousness. I have a will. An atom doesn't have a will. How does an atom give rise to a being like myself who has consciousness and a will to do something?
Forces of nature.
No, it doesn't have the properties. If I have an empty glass and I say, if we give it infinite amount of time, would I ever have a chocolate strawberry cake?
Well, if the right conditions had emerged in nature, yes, you would.
If the properties to make a chocolate fudge cake is not in the cup, how does it give rise to it?
Well, I can't see that happening. Yeah.
That's my point. Time is irrelevant, because the properties to make a strawberry cheesecake with extra strawberry, because I like strawberries, yeah, if it's not in the cup, it will not give rise to it. So how does atoms and energy that we have, that are blind processes, giving rise to conscious beings like us who have a will? It's an impossibility, and that's the reason why.
Nature.
But
evolution is built on a dance between
but do you see what
accidents of nature, mutations,
accidents of nature,
and also humans are now at the point where we're so intelligent, we can consciously guide our own evolution.
Look at what you're saying. Accidental. You're saying blind processes having an accident.
Again, biologists don't know where life comes from. They're not claiming that they know.
No problem. But what do they know is that they do know is that the first cell is a very complex thing. Okay, can someone help her? You okay?
See, that happened. That was an accident, right? No one forcefully willed that to happen.
No, really.
She fell off the bike because you can describe all the conditions that led to that.
That's not an accident.
You can say there was no intelligent will behind that. She's probably a decent cyclist, but it's slippery today. And this is what happens. Accidents happen.
That's not accident, because if you believe in science, if you look at the factors, if those factors didn't happen, she would not fall down. So what it is we don't believe, as an atheist science, believe in science, you can't believe in accidents. Because chance and accidents are things that, for example, when I throw a dice, okay, what's the possibility for it to come in double sixes? There is no such thing as chances, because the element, once you know the condition of the weather and the way you throw it and the style he throws it at, you will have the exact same results. So this is called hard determinist.
I'm a hard determinist.
There you go. If you're a hard determinist, that's not accident.
Well,
you can't, because that there is, if you knew the factors, that could be avoided. So the point I'm trying to say, if you're a hard determinist, you have to believe in a determiner.
No, why do I have to believe in a conscious will that's intelligent? Why?
What's your name, sorry?
Kyle.
Ali. I'm bad at
no, don't worry,
Kyle, if you are a hard determinist, you have to believe in a determiner. Because how could you believe in hard determinism that all of these things are not...
Yes, but not. It doesn't have to be an intelligent creator that we're giving human attributes
No, not human attributes. What we're saying is, just because we use the same term doesn't mean it's the same thing. What we're saying is the following. When we go back and talk about the necessary being that's independent and self-sufficient, what we're saying is that when we gave the example of a painting, when we look at a painting, we never saw the painter, but we have to rationally, logically, as an atheist or a scientist or religious person, accept a couple of things.
The analogy of the painting does not fly.
It does fly. Let me tell you why.
A painting is just a tiny part of reality.
Exactly.
You can't use a tiny, infinitesimally tiny part of reality to reason out into the entirety of this reality we live in.
But it does. If it works in a micro level, it works in a macro level.
That's just not true.
Why not? For example, if the picture, we look at a picture of a painting, we have to accept certain attributes of the painter. Number one, he exists.
He was a human though, not a created god.
I don't mind. Look, no problem. No problem. What I'm saying is you have to follow this. Does he exist?
Are you saying reality is like a painting?
No.
You're really saying our reality we live in is a painting?
No. I'm giving an analogy.
It's nothing like a painting.
I'm giving an analogy which you have no choice but to ascribe it to the creator. Let me tell you why. Do you accept the painter has exists?
Yes, the painting.
Do you accept that he has a will?
Yes.
That he has to be conscious?
Yes.
He has to be knowledgeable?
Yes.
He has to have skills?
But that's a human being, not a god.
No problem. I'm fine with that.
How can you? That's almost blasphemous as a Muslim to draw an analogy from a man and to use that as a justification.
Not at all. I'm using logic, because what you've done now is you deduced that attribute. What did you do? You gave the attribute by looking at a painter. You didn't see the painter. He exists. He has conscience. He has a will. He has knowledge. He has skills. Good. 1 second. Let's go to the bird that he drew. Let's go to the actual bird. Now the bird itself, there has to be. If the bird is there, there has to be a creator?
No, there doesn't.
Look, that was thunder.
Evolution.
Look, that's your God.
Came about by evolution.
Look, 1 second.
No, it's nothing like
one
God.
second. Even if it's, even if it's evolution,
not a religious concept.
even if it's evolution, it doesn't take away. You know what you've done now? You've gone back to the boiling point of the first cell. The first cell is a very complex mechanism. So therefore, what gave rise to the first cell?
Biologists don't know this. They're trying to find this out.
Okay, this is what I'm saying.
There's an investigation.
And you know
into
what?
this topic
You know what?
as we're speaking.
Allah says in the Quran. Allah actually talks about this. Allah talks about the psychology. He says, and if you ask them who created the heavens, or did it come from nothing, or did they create it themselves? You know what they'll say? I don't know.
That's good.
That's not good.
It's good to accept when you don't have enough knowledge.
No. What that is, to me,
can I say something
it's like
quickly?
a cop-out.
It takes humility to accept when you're not sure, and then to continue the scientific investigation, rigorous scientific investigation. The sooner Muslims and Christians abandon their religious beliefs and adopt scientific ways of thinking.
You're religious.
No, I'm not.
You are. Your God is evolution, and your religion is scientists. You are religion. Don't get it. Don't get it twisted. You know what I really don't like? I find it really bizarre.
Evolution is a scientific process. God is a religious concept.
No.
In fact, again, it's blasphemous as a Muslim to say that.
No, not at all. It's not.
To use the word God in the context of scientific inquiry, you're twisting a concept that's supposed to be very sacred to you.
No. God tells us that. Have you seen the one who takes his desires his own God? God tells us there are false deities. What you've done in a nutshell.
You're using God in two different ways.
No, not at all. What
There's the way we use the word God when it's something that we just very value. I could say wine is my God, or money is my God.
Exactly.
But that's a different. You're using the same word, but in a different.
Well, of course, Allah tells us to use it
different way. Let's not mix up concepts.
But why is it that when we talk about a picture of a bird, exists, conscious, will, knowledge, skill. Let's talk about the bird itself. Evolution. 1 second. Let me get this right. Evolution of blind processes.
Not blind processes.
It is a blind process.
You're very black and white.
1 second.
You're saying it's either blind or it's intelligent.
No problem.
It's somewhere in the middle.
Prove it.
Evolution.
That's you tell me prove it and I got bananas.
No, do you want me to?
No, that's not. That's prove to me.
I mean, I can give you my best. I've read some Charles Darwin. I can explain as far as I know how it works.
Charles Darwin believed in God. There was a book written about it.
That doesn't mean he was wrong about evolution.
No, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying to you, believing in evolution doesn't take God out of the picture.
You can have wrong beliefs and still come up with good ideas.
You can be a scientist who believes in evolution, who believes in God. It doesn't contradict each other.
I've met plenty of scientists.
Exactly.
Muslim,
so therefore, it doesn't mean you don't believe in God.
What they're doing is, in most of their daily life, or let's say their work life, and let's say for example they're investing in atoms or planets or evolution, animals, birds. They're never, if they're good scientists, going to bring in religious concepts to that. When they're investigating. No, because it would be contrary to science.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say. Even when you go with science, the point is this: how are you?
They would keep their religious stuff for Sunday mass.
No, but you said, for example,
going to the synagogue or to the temple.
No problem, but
they wouldn't bring in their religious beliefs into the laboratory.
To me, science.
Because then they get fired from their jobs.
To me, science is a religion.
They would get fired from their jobs.
No, I know, but to me, science is a religion. As I see it as that.
It's absolutely contrary to religion.
It is, and your
evolution. It's the main force dismantling religion right now in this country.
No way. If that was the case, for example. For what you're telling me, show me as an atheist who believes in science that atoms have consciousness, or they don't have a will. They're in between. How do you prove that?
Look, atoms. I remember some chemistry from school. I hope you remember some as well. I'm actually. I prefer reading literature and philosophy. I'm not really a scientifically trained person.
Same.
But I remember enough chemistry to look at how electrons work. How certain electrons, when there's a certain number of them, they need to pair with other atoms.
Why do they need to pair? Who told them to pair?
No one told them to pair.
So why do they pair?
That's the argument I'm making. No one told them to.
But
they're doing it. Scientists are trying to understand why this happens. They don't know. The problem
so it's the science of the gaps.
What religion does is it tries to fill in the gaps that we don't know.
No, not at all.
With fantasies, with mythologies,
with logic, with rationality.
What science does is it accepts. Look, right now we don't exactly know why. The first atoms came into being and came together to create life. We don't know.
That's faith.
There's nothing wrong with saying we don't know.
No, that's
the opposite of faith.
No, it's faith.
What you're saying is I don't know.
No,
and that's fine.
No.
Look, I go throughout my life and I walk around the street and I go to my job. I don't know for a fact everything that's going to happen around me. I accept that there are things I don't know.
Neither do I.
So why don't you apply that same humility to your religion?
No, it's not humility. You don't. It's not. It's absolute arrogance.
No.
It's arrogance. How is that humility to come and say a painting has a design, someone that exists? Designer is somebody who has a will, has consciousness. But when you apply the same thing to a bird that is full of color and pattern, evolution.
Brother,
That to me is arrogant.
As a Muslim, this is blasphemous to say this. Do you know why?
I don't know why I keep saying this. As a Muslim,
you're using a human being and
you're
equating a human being's skill with a paintbrush with God's ability to create.
Not at all.
As a Muslim, that's quite blasphemous.
No, because Allah says in the Quran.
Brothers should be aware of this.
Well,
you shouldn't be using a human being as an analogy
Allah
for
says
God.
in the Quran.
Supposedly, God is supposed to be much more powerful than any human.
I'm a Muslim.
I know. I'm speaking.
No.
Supposedly,
I'm a Muslim. I know my religion better than you. Nowhere does it say that pondering upon. Allah says in the Quran in Surah Imran verse 190. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and in the alternation of the night and day, there are people of intellect. There are signs for people of intellect. So when I look at, for example, my watch, and my watch is designed, and I see this, and I conclude for that there is a designer, and I use the same analogy, actually, and which no problem. But that's not problem.
Equate the two?
I'm not equating the two. I'm using logic to deduce that a creator exists. Because one of the reasons I came to Islam and believed in God is because I said, I look around me, I have to be an absolute ignorant, arrogant person to look around me. Everything designed, the universe, chance.
No,
that's arrogance. That's not humility.
No one said chance. This is a straw man.
Okay.
I didn't say chance.
Okay, where did it come
Scientists, they don't know for sure. They didn't say it's all accident by chance.
Why can't it be God? Why everything?
Actually,
why does Richard Dawkins say aliens? No, it's not. It's on you.
Scientists are not
and even if it's on me, I'll prove it.
The scientists aren't even saying.
Why does Richard Dawkins say aliens? Because maybe aliens created us. Why not God?
He said maybe.
No. I don't care. The point is this: Why didn't he say maybe God? Why maybe aliens?
Richard Dawkins himself he's not 100% atheist. He said this himself.
I don't care. The point is this: why aliens but no God? Okay, can it be a chance that it's God?
Do you know Richard Dawkins uses the example of a cliff? He was walking by a cliffside once in one of his documentaries, and he said, "Look, I maybe would be able to, and the probability is not going to be determined, be able to just walk up this cliff right now, contrary to gravity and the conditions of the cliffside as it reacts against my body." He said, "I could. We have to entertain even the most remotest possibilities in science that it's possible to do that." Having said that, for the sake of scientific investigation, we can conclude that it's infinitesimally it's bordering on impossible. That I could just walk up a cliff right now. So even Richard Dawkins said maybe.
Impossible.
Even Richard Dawkins uses this as an analogy for God. Yes, there might be a God, but it's so infinitesimally unlikely. There's so little evidence.
Mad.
There's no scientific evidence for it.
Okay, everything is possible, but God, no way. That is crazy.
We have to be skeptical.
That is mad.
We can't be too
I'll tell it to your face, man. That is crazy. Everything is possible. Aliens, maybe. Matrix, could be. Am I here? I don't know. Everything God.
This is the stuff of philosophy.
No,
it's worth debating.
That's crazy, man. I'll tell you. That to me is
You're
crazy.
The one making the claim.
And that's
you need
the
to back
reason
it up,
why
you haven't been able to.
We're going to let the viewers decide. We're going to let the viewers decide. You cannot look. The argument
to a creator of the whole universe.
Look. You can't even
answer.
You're
making a jump from a tiny painter.
You can't even answer it.
Painting a picture of a bird. You're jumping from that to supposedly a creation of a whole universe.
Tiny painter.
And I'm sure even the Quran it's against this analogy.
It's not. I'll tell you.
This analogy is blasphemous.
It's not. Actually, God Almighty talks about the creation to reflect upon it. It doesn't actually. So don't say things that you may not be aware of. Small painting.
Sounds like it to me. I'm just telling you.
No. But I'm telling you, as a Muslim, there's no such thing as comparing the creation and looking at it and deducing from that God exists. Small painting, all the attributes: created, exists, will, consciousness, knowledge. Look, small painting. The whole universe. The whole universe, guys. Look, small painting. We will ascribe it all to a human being. He has to be intelligent. He has to have a will. He has to have skills. He's a painter.
It's a human being, not God.
Check this out. Do you not understand?
How can you jump from a human being to God?
Isn't the penny dropping? Isn't the penny dropping? A small picture, 100%.
This is even contrary to Islam.
Guys, it's not. Why do you keep saying that? I'm telling you, as a Muslim, what you're saying is not true.
Just because you're a Muslim doesn't mean you know everything about Islam.
No. One thing that I do know is that I can give examples in the creation. I don't know why you keep saying that. I give evidence in the Quran, Surah Nisa.
From a painter
So, brother, I'm telling you very clearly, it's not blasphemous. No. I'm telling you, please, I'm a Muslim. There is no such thing.
It doesn't mean you know everything about Islam.
It doesn't mean that I know the basics.
Yeah, but you're talking with authority.
You're talking with authority. Yeah, exactly.
I'm using logical argument.
No, you're not using logic. You're using illogic.
Not even the Prophet would say you can use that analogy of a painter, a human being, a mere mortal, to explain the entire creation of the universe.
God says in the Quran, indeed in the creation of the heavens and the earth.
Infinite being.
I know enough about Islam.
He's a Muslim.
You're making this up yourself, man.
Yeah, exactly. There is nothing that says that. There's actually Surah Imran. Allah says, Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and in the alternation of the night and day, there are signs for those who believe. Meaning, God says,
those who believe,
yes,
not for scientists.
Yes, you do believe. You believe in evolution, which is your God. That's the difference.
Evolution is not my God.
That is your
I'm gonna
God.
take issue with this.
This is, you know why?
Evolution is not my God. The reason being,
okay, what gave rise to us?
Evolution.
Okay, what gave rise to us?
Evolution is a scientific concept.
No problem.
Used to explain how species came about, how we have a huge diversity of animals, plants, life forms.
Okay, no problem.
Evolution uses explanations like natural selection,
okay, no problem.
sexual selection,
no problem.
A mixture of competition and cooperation,
no problem.
Adapting to the environment.
No problem.
It's a model of explanation, a theory for how we have such a variety of life forms on this planet.
Okay, so how did we come to be?
You can't describe that as a God. That's a scientific concept.
How did we come to be?
God is a theological concept used to try and explain why is it that there isn't anything at all. It's a different concept, right?
So how did we all come?
I wouldn't mix the two disciplines of theology and science.
How did we come to be?
Evolution is not my God.
Okay.
I don't believe in God.
1 second.
I believe in evolution.
Okay.
Evolution is not my God.
I don't believe in God. I believe in evolution. You prove my point. I don't believe in look, I don't believe in God. I believe in evolution. That's exactly my point. What you're saying is we are all of this that's in nature.
There's evidence to believe in evolution, but there's no evidence I've seen to believe in God.
Evolution doesn't contradict. Evolution doesn't contradict God existing.
You're saying to me a painter can create a painting, and a painter is intelligent.
No, but
there is a creation.
Yes, logically, rationally, go to anybody. Go to anybody.
God must have created the world.
There's even studies show that.
From a painter, a guy painting a little picture of a bird. Jumping from that to the creator of the entire universe.
Exactly.
And that's why I say it almost sounds like blasphemy.
It logically follows.
If you're a Muslim,
anything that happens on a macro level, it's very simple.
To equate the skill of a painter, a humble painter, human being,
you're not answering my question.
With the tremendous
you don't answer my question. I even gave the example of a dependent. 1 second. I even gave the example of infinite amount of dependent things. You can't have by the way, it's a fallacy to say that you can have an infinite amount of dependent things. You require a necessary being. You haven't answered that.
Why does it require a necessary being?
It has to, because you cannot have.
Making the claim. You cannot.
Back up the claim. No. Can you have an infinite amount of dependent things?
We just established.
I'm asking some question.
No, I agree with you on that.
1 second. Okay, if you can't, it requires a necessary, self-sufficient, independent being that gives rise.
Why does it have to be intelligent or have a will?
Because how could it give rise to us dependent things who have conscious and will, and it doesn't have those attributes itself?
It doesn't have to have those attributes.
How does it give rise to us?
The wind blowing the vase.
No, but who created the wind?
Well, no, it doesn't have to be who. That's a loaded question.
There you go.
That's a loaded question.
Where did the wind come from?
No one created the wind. The wind is a force of nature arising out of climate conditions.
Okay, and how?
It's not who created the wind.
A wind has some force.
Well,
what gave it that force?
Star, right?
No, how did it give it that force?
Well, it comes from the interaction of climate.
1 second.
Well, that's one. Yeah, the rotation of the planet has to do with wind.
What caused the rotation of the planet?
Well, that's to do with gravity and the way we move around the sun.
What caused the gravity?
Again, guys, just to be clear, I'm not astrophysicist.
No, you don't need to. You don't need to.
I remember some of my primary school education.
Look.
I remember some of my primary school education.
No, all you need is logic and rationality. I don't want you to be a scientist.
We can agree on that. We need logic and rationality.
Thank you.
I agree with you on that.
So
okay?
I'm
logic
saying
and rationality.
Atoms. Does atoms have conscious?
They don't have conscious.
Do they have a will?
A will depends what you mean by will.
Brother,
if they have a motivating force, if that's the will, then yes. But if by will you mean a conscious decision.
Yes.
Look, I even struggle with the idea of free will. I'm not sure if I believe in that.
No, you're a hard determinist. You don't believe in that. I'm a compatibilist. I believe in both. But what I'm trying to say
I'm more actually with you on that, to be honest.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So you can be a Muslim and believe in Qadr and free will. Okay, that's it. If a atom doesn't have consciousness, how does it give rise to us conscious beings?
If an atom doesn't have consciousness, how does it give rise to
conscious beings like us? It doesn't have the properties of consciousness.
Well, again, I'm not a scientist, but as far as I know, atoms, when they came together to create the elements that we have.
How did they come together?
In the periodic table. Those elements then, well, we talked about electrons, how different atoms, different elements have different numbers of electrons, and depending on how many electrons they have, that draws them together.
Why is it like that? Because it's composed. It's composed.
With gravity. As far as I know, it's to do with gravity.
Okay, but it's composed in that way.
I'm actually going into an area of discussion which I'm not a chemist or a scientist.
Neither am I.
However, I know enough to say. Yeah. I know enough to say that you're drawing too much.
Okay. We're wrapping 5 minutes. Yeah.
You're drawing too much from too little evidence.
But you didn't answer my question.
Because it's a loaded question.
No, it's not. No. You said to stop humility.
Can I say something?
Yeah, if someone wants to join in. Maybe we can.
No. You know, I don't want no one to join in. You know why? With all due respect, I'm so sorry. I want you to answer this question. Does an atom have consciousness? If it doesn't, how does it give rise to beings like us? which we have consciousness, and we know,
by forces of
and we
nature.
know. No. What kind of question is that?
Gravity,
what kind of answer is that? No, 1 second.
Electrons being drawn together. In
Does
certain numbers.
electrons have consciousness?
No, they don't. No.
They don't. Okay.
Not that there's no evidence that they do.
You know
Maybe they do. I'm not a scientist.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Because you know there's a whole situation with the scientists grappling with a hard problem of consciousness. How do we have consciousness from atoms that we are made out of that doesn't have consciousness?
Look, even psychologists, neuroscientists are trying to grapple with where human consciousness comes from. The thing is that what this comes down to for me, if we're going to wrap up now,
yes.
What this comes down to me is the scientific approach accepts that there are huge gaps in our knowledge.
And that's called the science of the gaps.
You can use any derogatory label you want.
I'm not being derogatory.
I call it basic scientific humility and investigation.
I call it basic science arrogance. We're not gonna. It can't be God. We don't know.
You're using disparaging terms because you don't actually have evidence.
And you know what? I think it's clear. It's very clear.
Scientists are
you
saying,
have
look,
faith. This is faith. Just say I have faith. I have faith that one day
we'll find out. How can you have faith that you don't know someone?
You do. You don't know it, and you're saying we don't know, but one day we'll find out. That's faith.
You're using mythology, imagery, poetry. You're taking it very literally and using it to plug up the gaps that scientists accept with great humility that they don't know.
And
scientists accept they don't know what originally came before the Big Bang.
Do they have faith they'll find out one day?
Scientists accept 100%. We're not sure right now
but they'll find out one day?
where the first life forms come from.
But do they say we'll find out one day?
They hope to.
That's faith.
They hope to.
That's faith.
It's hope, not faith. Don't mix. You're just mixing up. You're muddying the waters.
It's faith.
You're muddying the waters. It's just a hope. Look, when I go to work and I have a problem in my job, I have a basic hope that I can solve the problem, but I don't have faith that I can solve the problem.
Yeah, exactly. But
I hope that I can. When I'm just a barista. You ask me what I do. I just make coffee. I'm not a scientist or a theologian.
It's blind hope.
Scientists have the same approach. They say, look, we're not sure where human consciousness first evolved. We don't even know for sure where language comes from, for example.
Exactly. There you go.
We're not sure what came before the Big Bang, if there was anything even before the Big Bang. We're not sure.
You've got a lot of stuff that you're not sure of, though.
They're saying that we're not sure what the first life forms were, where they are on the planet.
There you go.
We're not. They accept great humility. We're going to investigate this. You say it's arrogance. I say it's humility. Let's just leave it at that.
Because why don't they say it has to be a creator?
What they don't do is
why is creator not in the picture?
What they don't do is they don't get books written before the Enlightenment, books that are steeped in mythology, paganism,
I'm not even talking about Islam
religion,
now. I'm talking about logic and
poetry,
rationality.
Whether it's Islam,
I'm not talking about Islam.
Christianity, Buddhism, they don't take old poetry and imagery and try and use it to plug up the gaps.
I never done that. I use rationality and logic. I never talked about Islam. I talked Quran verse.
I shook your hand on this. I know we're both trying to use rationality.
I know, but that's what I did.
I accept that.
But why don't we ever say maybe it's God?
You haven't proven to me, my friend.
I think the viewers can decide.
One thing
I think the viewers can decide. The fact that
that's a good way to leave it.
They're 100%. The viewers have to decide because
the viewers decide. I like that.
There's questions that you didn't answer, but we'll let the people decide. But yeah, thank you very much for your time.
I actually really enjoyed that. I didn't want to get so confrontational, but I really enjoyed it.
It happens. This is a debate discussion. I don't mean anything bad by it.
We feel passionate about this.
This is a passionate topic.
Thank you, man. Come here, I want a hug.
Thank you.
You guys have a nice day. Yeah, have a nice evening.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think, have you got all the mics off?
It was a nice discussion, man.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't too boring because it was very calm and peaceful.
It was.
You wanted something a bit more.
No. I prefer. Thank you very much. Yeah.